Do it.
I think that this first ban away from washed up mid should be LeBlanc. Wow!
He's got chrono break to know when LeBlanc's gonna get banned. Amazing. All right, so we'll wait to see. Go ahead.
I'd follow with an Alistar, but that ban completely changed. Okay, that is no longer an Alistar ban. That is a Tom Kench ban, and that is an iLucky ban. That's a champion he's been very dominant on. So interesting there.
Yeah, the LeBlanc ban signals to me, especially with a change out with the jungler, it kind of signals to me that maybe Sam Houston might be looking to have a safer mid style, knowing that they're not going to be able to pull out some of the coordination with some of these higher skill threshold champions like an Akali, like an Echo, something like that. So they may just be looking to draft a mage for safety and just look to play that sort of scaling team fighting style that they have been known for the entirety of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that style in recent weeks has not been quite as prominent with the success of style on picks like the Echo and the Akali, but it is certainly something they can go back to in a pinch with the Fozzie Bear sub, as we do see Graves, Viego, and then Morgana round out our bans. And here's that Renata we talked about, right? This is Melancholy Peach's champion at this point. We've seen this several weeks in a row, and I really am surprised to consistently see this going through when it just gives so much control over neutral objectives and picks.
Yeah. And this is a champion that we've seen increased play in pro play as well. This is enables a lot of team fighting, enables a lot of dueling in the bot lane, and obviously gives some safety, and especially when you're drafting it into attack-heavy champions. You know, if you can make these auto-heavy champions beat up on each other for about 5 seconds, it makes your team fighting just that much easier. It gives you a lot of setup as, again, seeing a lot of heavy team fighting for Sam Houston. These bans and picks coming in really, really quickly. Mordekaiser, Zinhao, Zoe there for the side of Flash Abusers, so they are drafting in order there. Sam Houston doing the best they can to recreate draft. Sam Houston, I like this draft. I'm interested in the fact that they have split the bot lane picks.
Absolutely. That is always an interesting choice as we start to see ADC bans come through from both sides as well. And this could just be 4 ADC bans in the second ban phase, which really might pinch things for Ereshkigal, who I assume isn't going, based on what I've seen, doesn't have as deep of a pool. There's the Jhin takeaway as well. I think there's still a couple good options here. Misfortune's fine, Sivir's fine. You could go towards the Varus as well. Yeah, Samira's risen in priority. I actually don't like Sivir into the pick comp the Flash Abusers is kind of put together here, though. And I do like the simplicity of Flash Abusers just land one ability and you are locked down for quite a while in their comp. But that Shen pick, obviously, is going to counter that well. So just a really good standard team fight here for SHSU.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are on to the Rift for Game 1 between Sam Houston State Esports, Orange, and the Flash Abusers. These guys, 5-minute stack for these guys as they're running out there. Do they maybe fancy themselves a tricky level 1, Kramer?
I think that the level 1 of Flash Abusers is actually much trickier. We've just got a 5-point from Sam that looked weird. The 5-point with more steps, but Flash Abusers seem to understand that with Frostbite and Concussive Blows at level 1, they've got a chance. Ereshkigal may need to flash here. Oh, the Deadly Flourish doesn't land, but they'll still get the flash. And that is a really, really good level 1 for Sam. Or, sorry, for Flash Abusers.
Yeah, we'll be forced to blow the summoner early just to stay alive. Good spot out there from this Flash Abuser squad to get the early summoner off of Ereshkigal. So it's going to make that bot lane matchup just a little bit easier. So they're going to force their way towards this red buff. Mike Lee just trying to set up some vision. Do they actually want to deny this? Ping's going down onto the opposite red buff there for the side of Flash Abusers. Ping going down. They will be spotted on it, so they know that this is happening. Do they want to do anything about it? Is Style going to get grabbed up here? Auto's going to ignite the passive for Shen, but ultimately just going to walk out. Style not going to blow any of his summoners there. But they're not going to respond to this. I think Sam Houston may be actually able to get this red buff from Squid.
It looks that way, which is good for them, especially with the Mordekaiser not saying this. And honestly, wow, that was dangerous pathing for Shin Mulfer. That could have been punished if Sam had wanted to do that or maybe been a little more aware of it. But either way, this should be a 3-buff start for Fozzie Bear. Actually, I guess Flash Abusers, they do see this. So theoretically, this could just end up vertical jungling, which I don't think we've seen yet.
Yeah, but are they going to respond to this, though? I mean, Squid's not running down there to get red buff. If he wanted to do it, he would have to do it now. Is just opting to start off the Grump. Are they going to let this go unanswered? I think they are. Okay,
no, it
so...
looks like he's moving down now. And also, Fozzie is still on his Raptors, so...
Okay, so they are just yeah, they are just going to opt in to go ahead and get that clear, but they will know that he's obviously going to be running in there to start that red buff, just to see if that ward will expire before they actually catch him out on it. But I think they're just fully opting into this. This is the bot lane trading going on, so they know that Squid is on that red buff. Is Ereshkigal going to get stunned up there? That passive becoming quite annoying. So even despite the early concerns that we might be able to do this, no,
this
Sam,
is a good adaptation.
Yeah, Sam Houston not going to let this go, but Style going to have to get out of here. Yeah, this is just going to go so sideways for Flash Abusers. First blood going over to Fozzie Bear. They were not going to let him get that red buff at all, and yeah, this actually just will be the 3-buff start for Fozzie Bear.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a good start to the game for Fozzie Bear, who's on his namesake champion. And I'm surprised to see the Flash Abusers get such a beneficial bot lane trade and then still allow Ereshkigal and Melancholy Peach to beat them to that, as we do see a fight here in the top lane.
Shin is not going to have the pass for too much longer unless he can get another autos. Lucky, can he survive this? No, last Q is going to knock him down. Just wasn't cognizant of the trading that he was having on top of Shin, so he's going to get that return kill, but that won't overcome the first blood gold that was given over to Fozzie Bear.
No, it won't, but that Darkness Rise passive really catching Lucky off guard. That is a surprising amount of damage, especially once the Conqueror gets fully stacked. Good job by Shin to take that trade, land the Obliterate, and find himself a good solo kill there early on in this lane.
And it's going to be more than just a solo kill in the end, too, because Lucky had to use teleport to get back to that lane, or would, I think, have lost too much farm, lost too much XP. So is forced to use that. So now Shin just going to be able to get a free back whenever he wants to. Is Lian is only just now ticking over to level 3. Will drop below half. That Jhin trying to do what he can to continue to proc the passive of Bento on that Braum, but is still going to struggle. But I think you rightly highlighted, though, Shin going to be able to take those trades whenever he wants to. And now that he has teleport advantage, he can look to answer Lucky when he does choose to commit that teleport. As we see again, going to mid lane, Squid. One more auto will give him the knockup. When becomes Lightning going to miss. Wash going to miss the Q as well. And Hostile is going to politely escort these two red-looking members out of his lane. He didn't appreciate being queued down there.
No, nothing working there for the Flash Abusers as they try to find something on the Style. He's just positioned correctly, understanding the potential for Squid to show up in his lane there. And in this bot lane, one thing I do want to make note of, this Dark Harvest take for Lian on the Jhin is interesting into a lane where I think you're going to be taking more poke. I would have liked to see fleet footwork here and just a little more sustained. But Lian's still trying to make the most of it and should, if they clean this up correctly, be able to come away with an early CS lead. We've already seen some favorable trades, so not too bad.
Speaking of trades, it looked like for a moment that Squid and mid wanted to walk down there, but they are just going to ping it off. This dragon has spawned in, so it is going to be Notion Drake to start us off with. It would be really beneficial for both these teams considering the amount of poke that they're going to be receiving and throwing out. So obviously they would like to hold on to that. For my money, especially for Sam Houston, having to deal with the Zoe poke as well, who can just kind of hit you over those walls. It is a little bit annoying to have to deal with. Style just dropping below a quarter. Shin trying to trade here on the top lane. Lucky, can he continue to punish this when that Darkness Rising passive just makes it so incredibly difficult for Shin to actually win this? The longer you stay in it, the less you lose. Yeah, just going to lose out on that ability. Not going to be able to trade it there. So this top lane matchup. Oh, go ahead.
Lucky dangerously close to trolling himself. If he had continued to opt into that trade too much longer, especially once the Obliterate came down on his head. If the Mordekaiser manages to land his combo with the stacked passive, it's probably not a trade you want to continue to take. Also, the Stridebreaker RNG for Zoe in the mid lane, almost forcing a cleanse out of Style. If that Sleepy Trouble Bubble had landed in that exchange we watched, that would have forced a summoner, if not more, out of Style. So Washed Up Mid did find... Oh, we Washed Up Mid also roam top.
Lucky. Going to be able to dodge out of that one, so no risk there of him going down. Did briefly have the level advantage, so could have looked to set something up there in the bot lane if they wanted to, but obviously wasn't able to get that. And there was nothing going on in the bot lane anyway, so no early usage of that Stand United, which is going to be helpful for Sam Houston now, especially if they are continuing to be paid attention by Squid, who is trying to set something up for either of his laners there. Early pings going down onto this dragon. I think Sam Houston want to go ahead and start this. They have information that Zen is not going to be up here. He is at a massive level disadvantage, I want to point out. Frozzy is up to level 5. Squid has not even hit level 4 yet. Does not have really anything to his name. Has died once already. And that early dragon going into Sam Houston, that's going to feel pretty good for them.
Absolutely. You see Washed Up Mid get that roam to top lane, and you've got this massive jungle advantage because Squid has spent so much time around your mid lane and collected a death for himself. You feel pretty safe to start up that dragon every time, as we now see Fozzie finish the Ionian Boots. Ionian Boots sheen on this Volibear. It looks like he's building towards a Divine Sunderer, so opting out of the more run-at-you style of Volibear and into a more I'm-gonna-beat-you style of Volibear. And I kind of like this adaptation. This isn't something we've seen yet.
Yeah, I think this kind of signals to me less of a dive desire for Fozzy and for Sam Houston and more of a team fight style. Obviously, Chemtech does give you quite a bit of flexibility in how you want to take some of these fights and gives you mobility, but having that Divine Sunder does give you a little bit of extra damage, does give you a little extra sticking powers. Well, hold on, something going on here in the bot lane. It's going to be the fastest stack from Melancholy. She will be dropping, is going to go into the Redemption, not going to be able to get anything there, and he might not be double one falling. Estegirl going to be falling as well. One Marauder would do it, and it's trades across the map. Flash abusers, they're going to get a double kill in the top lane and a double kill in the bot lane. There's no sorry. It's going to be Bento picking up one of those.
Everything goes wrong for Sam Houston at once. Shin Mulfer with the 2v1 in the top lane, and Arash Kagal dashing in as Melancholy falls in the bot lane, underestimating the impact of the Frostbite passive from Braum. Just punishment all over the map, and this goes back into what I talked about with this snowbally style of comp. This is not something that Sam could afford to have happen, because these lanes, in theory, with this lead, can just take over the game, as we see them also transition this into an early Herald. But Squid still desperately needs to find levels if they're going to continue to snowball this off those kills.
Yeah, excellent cross-map play, knowing that they could take fights both in the bot lane. And then the difficulty, too, of ganking a Mordekaiser is, any 2v1 that you think you're going to get turns into a 1v1 instantly, and you're just hoping that your friend that gets ulted there comes out at the other end with at least half health so you can try and turn it back around, because, Mordekaiser in that passive is just going to be so difficult to deal with. So Flash Abusers winning really big in that last couple of minutes, and I think it's going to be more difficult for Sam Houston now navigate this, because if you're looking at this bot side too, something we haven't talked about is what Ereshkigal is going to be building his ult style. Going to blow the cleanse right here. Fozzy wants to try and get over the wall. Going to land the E on top of it. Not committing just yet. Wants to donate this kill over to Style, but doesn't want to die for it. Ultimate going to be committed. Flashed out from mid. Can he manage to get his way out of this? Squid trying to get there. Exhaust going to come down on a Fozzy. No level 6 for Squid right now, though, so it should just be the disengage, and that's what it's going to be. Lucky, he's just getting battered down on this top lane.
Absolutely. Incredible patience from washed up mid to find a way out of that fight, waiting to see the Stormcaller come out, or Stormbringer come out from Bully Bear over the wall before he decided where to commit his flash to. And also worth noting, there's a level and a half discrepancy between the mid laners too, which is just as big as the jungle XP discrepancy, as Lucky's not feeling too lucky in this.
He might die here. Flash out, Shen. Gonna eat a couple of turret shots. We'll just walk back under there. That was so close. Lucky forced to blow the summoner there. Kind of a greedy recall, all things considered. Shen having that stacked wave there to play with.
Greedy recall.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say the greedy recall works out, getting the flash out from Shim Mulfer, though.
Oh, but that's not the only thing that's going to be going down right here, is it may be Melancholy dropping as she does, and now Estegirl just trying to live through this. Curtain call is going to come out. Estegirl going to be forced to hide behind the big fat bear. He's going to have to take up that damage. Style has no mana. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, can he get anything going? Lucky is here. Shen United used to save that out, so we'll be a full commit there. Oh, and it's going to be the Deadly Flare is going to knock down Estegirl, so they will get one of the in after all the commitment. Oh, and this is going to hurt too. Herald's going to go down. They're going to get these plates, and they're going to get a whole lot of gold into this Flash Abusers comp.
Everything going wrong all over the map again for Sam. Shim Mulfer manages to pick up more plates on the top side for himself off that Stand United being burned. He's now invading into Sam's jungle, taking gold. The turret bot lane has fallen. Mid lane, Style is just getting styled on by washed up mid on this Zoe, who clearly knows how to pilot this matchup. And every single lane is losing decisively for Sam at this point, which is growing increasingly more concerning.
Yeah, and for Estegirl, this is going to be even worse, too, because you are playing this lethality. The point I wanted to try and make earlier is you're going to be forced to play this more complex build, and your items are going to take a lot longer to come on. Lethality does take, more time to invest in, and, that's really the only thing that Samira can build. She's not going to build crit items. She's not going to be able to build any kind of raw AoE damage. It is just going to be that lethality trying to play for these team fights, and the more that you get put behind, the more difficult it is to get this champion online. So this bot lane going to continue to suffer, and it's, especially with the turret going down too, it's going to be even worse, because now you're going to be forced in this longer lane where you can get ganked more and more often. You have less safety without having that turret.
Yeah, I think Samira still has the option of going more of the Negan style build, especially from behind, rather than the lethality where you can pilot into the Immortal Cringe Bow, Shield Bow, followed by Collector, and then a Bloodthirster. Obviously, the Collector lethality not going to be as useful from behind, but the passive there still synergizes well with her ultimate and most of her kit. So I think that just needs to be the adaptations, that more defensive Negan build, as we do see this game just getting out of hand I'm not sure, though, if the defensive itemization is going to be enough, because then it becomes a concern of where's your damage coming from. Victor's building defensively, Samira's building defensively. Renata can't even try to set you up to have the other team help you out with damage anymore, because as we just saw in that bot lane skirmish, the Braum Unbreakable just completely negates Renata's hostile takeover, and without that ultimate and that value, she really is just, you know, a situational revive. That's all she really brings to a team comp without her ultimate. So very, very concerning trend here for Sam.
Kramer, those are all great points to make, but I've got one I want to make. You ready for this?
Yes.
There is a Hextech alternator in the inventory of Shin Melford. That, my friend, is not a Rift Maker. So what on earth could this guy be gilding as Lucky could be forced to evacuate in the top lane and mid trying to take trades in the mid lane, but Hextech alternator with a blasting one.
The alternator does leave a few options available, but just focusing on mythics, that leaves one of two cases that could possibly come to fruition here.
Well,
one
we got
of
a
them
fight
is
breaking on in the mid lane. Sorry to interrupt you, because Island has decided he wants to try and poke out here. Is going to just force somebody. Sam Houston style dropping one more. Alda would do it, but is going to make his way out of there mid, close to getting him. Go ahead.
Nothing going there with that curtain call, but a decent try from Leon to pick up those fight or that kill in the mid lane onto Style. Back to this Hextech alternator though, as we do see it completed. That is a proto belt, which means Mordekaiser, who is already a raid boss, now has more damage in the form of Magic Pen and a little bit of a dash to get in range for that Death Realm, so he can banish one of your carries. This is a terrifying Mordekaiser.
It's almost disgusting is what it is, because if you're Sam Houston and you're trying to stay away from this Mordekaiser, that is this team fighting threat, is 3-0-0, is going to be shredding the entirety of your team comp, not just frontline, not just backline. Everybody who's too close is just going to die. Speaking of dying, yeah, Melancholy going to find out the hard way that is not where you want to stand. There is a Blast Cone, at least semi-available if she can make it out of this one, but yeah, I don't like the odds there. It is going to pop the passive. Standing United coming out, but yeah, that's just going to get canceled. Hostile takeover, not enough to buy a time there, and that's what happens when you get too close to the raid buff. You get whacked.
Indeed, and this should just be Second Herald going over to Flash Abusers. I don't know why they are waiting so long to start this up. Melancholy being picked there is just not, that's not how you're going to find a way back into this game if you are Sam Houston State. And it's also worth noting with this Mordekaiser, he is only about 600 gold towards his second item, whereas his opponent is about 1,000 gold from his mythic. So the gap in the top lane right now, at least in terms of gold, is horrendous for Sam Houston and massive for the Flash Abusers as they look to continue with the snowball comp.
And there's going to be a flash from Fozzie Bear. I'm not sure what he was looking for there. No setup for Sam Houston trying to take a fight in the mid lane. Almost was of desperation. Yeah, Squid's going to pop this Herald. This mid turret will be going down. Sam Houston just struggling to try and stay alive on the map right now. They have no control of vision. Is it's going to be the curtain call coming up from Sam Houston. Melancholy, can she get out? It's going to be the ultimate coming out for Braum. Going to get grabbed. No. Squid's going to pick that one up. And it's just a full Fiend Fight Wombo combo here. Glenn's immediately blown for Style. Going to try and find his way out of this jungle. Get too close. Can he knock down at least one member? Squid dropping low. It's going to be the second Herald. Getting a second turret here, and yeah, that will go down. It will eventually pop here. Value. Sam Houston picks it up, but they're going to get tremendous value out of that one. And this itemization right now, Sam Houston struggling to get online. It's going to hurt even more as that gold just flooding into the pockets of Flash Abusers.
Yeah, this is an 8,000 gold lead at 16 minutes for the Flash Abusers. They're about to have all of their mythics finished before literally any of the mythics for Sam Houston are able to come through. Once this Zoe and this Xin Zhao get their backs off, this is just a true... Zoe actually choosing to leave base without the mythic. I'm not sure how she doesn't have the gold for that quite yet, but apparently
no kills, no assists. That's why. Normally Zoe's, and that's kind of alien because normally Zoe's around this point have popped over a wall and smacked a couple of fools and gotten a couple of kills, but Washed has somehow, even through all of that team fighting that has been happening, not managed to pick up a kill. But never you worry, Kramer, because I'm sure we'll see that Zoe starting to make people disappear like a little sadistic magic trick here soon. But oh, I look at this is going to be even worse. Has no stand United to get out of this, even if he could activate it. Shin just going to lock him into this one. That passive's going to be activated. Lucky. Incredible time. No, is he going to be able to get out? Yes, commits the flash. Right towards the Gromp. Fozzie wants to try and re-engage this, but that Mordekaiser is pretty beefy to deal with. They're going to try and knock him down. Lucky dropping below half, and yes, they will pick it down. Shutdown gold going over to Fozzie, but it is traded for a dragon, so decent cross-map play for Flash Abusers.
Good to see them find the cross map play. Bad to see that aggression out of Shin Molfer, aware that he's not able to knock down the Shen. And just take the small win. You've got the Shen flash out. You've got priority in the side lane as we now do see a pause. So I'm just going to keep talking about whatever I was talking about. The
Complete her mythic here very soon. You're going to have Lian, who's going to start to complete his second, third item here soon enough if they keep winning these team fights. And Sam Houston, they're losing control of the map, so they don't even have safety to roam around the map to find some of these skirmishes and some of these team fights that might get them back in unless they can just find someone overextended on the side of Flash abusers.
Absolutely. The one thing for Sam that I think they can somewhat hang their hat on is the poke is really mostly going to be coming from Zoe. Obviously, those deadly flourishes from Jin are going to pack a bit of a punch, but mostly you've got to worry about those paddle stars and trouble bubbles. And at the end of the day, Sam does have a team comp that should outscale into those late game 5v5s. They've got more reliable wave clear in the form of Victor's Death Ray, and so they do have tools to kind of stabilize here. But this stacking dragons for the Flash abusers is going to require their attention, and they definitely need to be very, very mindful of these side lanes, because if they let this Mordekaiser get to the point where he can just beat the hell out of whoever he wants, that's not going to be something they can stabilize.
So for Sam Houston, if you're looking, I guess, to ways that they can get back in this game, you're looking at trying to eliminate some of the early team fighting power going into any of these neutral objectives that Flash abusers have, right? So you're looking at maybe trying to catch Zoe, trying to catch Lian all on his lonesome, trying to punish some any overforces overextension. But right now, I think Flash abusers understand that that is probably the only way that Sam Houston can get back in. And so we're opting instead to leave their best split pusher on his lonesome and then just stack as a 4-man here and not give Sam Houston that opening.
Absolutely. Stacking, and oh wow, this is they call it Death Realm for a reason, Style. As we see another flash away, Style could turn this.
Throws out the stasis, but meanwhile, in the top lane, Washed Up going to collect his first kill of the game, so exactly what we talked about. Style going to be forced off of this turret if he's not careful. So, yeah, this is just going to be the full court press here from Flash Abusers. Fully expect that turret really in that top side if they stick around to get that. So Sam Houston now having to contend with possibly having their base cracked as they are just getting absolutely shut out everywhere across the map.
Yeah, pressure on all fronts from the Flash Abusers as they try to collect these two standing 800 gold structures on the outside of the map they can pick up. As we talked about though, the Luden's Tempest coming in, and like clockwork, Zoe is now just half-healthing people from multiple screens away, like the sadistic little witch she is. And so this situation growing dire for Sam. Again though, I think that, you know, the hardest part is still to come for the Flash Abusers. That is actually cracking that base. I'm interested to see how they'll set up to try to do that. Baron is typically the most reliable means of doing that. But when you're this far ahead, if you flip a Baron, it becomes a lose condition more often than a win condition. Because if that doesn't go perfectly for you and that gets stolen away, the other team suddenly has a way back into the game, especially this early on in the game. You know, this early, finding huge gold swings can happen if a big enough mistake is made by the Flash Abusers.
Yeah, and for Flash Abusers, I wonder if you even just risk starting that Baron at all, or if maybe you force Sam Houston to come take you to Dragon, because you do have a small lead in that count, so it's not a huge objective that you're worried about giving over if Sam Houston, you know, do steal it or win a small team fight. And I think that that's something that they can force Sam Houston to respond to, because, you know, outside of that, Sam Houston, I don't think are going to want to leave their base for anything else. Shin is going to get stunned up. Now, Sam Houston's buying time. He's going to come out of this. Curtain call is going to come down on top of the whole team, but a full team fight's going to break out here on top of Sam Houston's jungle, but nobody dropping just yet. Fozzie buys a lot of time, but the Zoe is here now. Squid trying to get something going. Activates the ultimate. Fozzie going to be going into the passive and is just going to drop. Not going to be able to get the kill to buy himself some more life. He's going to be the first to drop, and Leon's going to go on a killing spree as Eskragol drops on the side of Sam Houston, and this should just be the Dragon going the way of Flash Abusers. An excellent team fight taken in Sam Houston's jungle.
Exactly. A nice little 2-for-1 there for the Flash Abusers. We saw exactly what we've been talking about in harping on this entire game. Shin taking space with the Death Realm, the Unbreakable coming in and just completely nullifying Melancholy's presence in the fight. And then for the second time in this game, Ereshkigal dashing in after a fight is lost. I'm really curious why he's chosen to do that twice and what's going on there, but that is not a good look for him, as it's been the same mistake twice. We do see also this Baron started up. It's going to be a slow Baron, but that doesn't really matter when you've just won a fight so dominantly in the enemy jungle. And this game is completely out of hand for Sam Houston and in hand for the Flash Abusers. It's theirs to lose.
Yeah, they're well and truly in the driver's seat on this one, and now that gives them the ability to start to crack the base of Sam Houston, because one of the points that I did want to make was that they are going to struggle to siege without that Baron just trying to crack Sam Houston's base, but now that they have access to it for the next 4 minutes, really they can start to try and put the pressure on the remaining structures that Sam Houston has. They're obviously going to run out towards this dragon. I'm curious if Sam Houston want to try and fight this. Just right now, their itemization just not in a good enough spot. As pings are going down on top of it, but they're walking towards it. Style does not have teleport for this, though. I'm not sure how serious this contest commitment is. He's in that top lane. They may just opt to try and get some of that bonus gold in the top lane turret.
Yeah, Sam needs to just give this one over and not continue to fight into this team, especially with the Baron going over onto Flash Abusers. If you choose to contest this dragon and it goes wrong,
they're not even going to get the turret. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, mid just going to teleport there, completely deny that from Style. Yeah, this is starting to look rough for Sam Houston, starting to get choked out across the map. Their vision is being denied everywhere. Style, though, he's going to pop out of this bush. He wants to try and collect a little bit of shutdown on top of mid. He can get it. Cleanse is going to come out. This might be enough. Chaos Storm ticking. One final laser will do it, and that puts a temporary stop to this siege from the side of Sam Houston. Fozzie going to have to get his way out of here. Bento is waiting. Lucky he can activate the Stand United to get here. Sam Houston, this may be the way in. Hostile Take is going to jump out on it too. Deadly Force going to try and buy a little bit of time. The curtain call, but it's a curtain call a little bit too late. Sam Houston may have found it. They get 3. A fantastic response from Sam Houston to the end, and that may be what they need. They're going to teleport back to their base, and that is the Baron completely negated from Flash Abusers.
Flash Abusers overextending there, trying to have their lunch and eat it too. Not playing around their own pick. A good job by Style, who has consistently performed, even in rough situations for this team, to find a kill onto the Zoe, and that ended up being the opening to find a way back into this game.
They may not be done yet. Fozzie wants to try and run down Leon. Gale Force out to try and get to safety. I'm they're going to be there to provide backup. They will get out of this one for now. They have the Baron-powered recall, but that looks sketchy just there for a moment.
That was concerning, but at the end of the day, only the Gale Force burnt there for Lien, so not the worst. But definitely for Flash Abusers, it's time to regroup, regather, and reset. Take a Crown Royal water break if you need, and let's not continue to get caught out in the enemy jungle. It is a pick comp, but that doesn't mean you all need to be trying to pick people on your own. Operate as a unit here. Otherwise, you're quickly going to see this lead fall away to the teamfight comp that is scaling. Rush Kagal catching up in gold quickly as they do have their second item finished. Only an item behind Lien now, which it seems odd to say is an improvement in the overall game state for Sam. And this game is, starting to come a little bit more back towards parity, but still, a 9,500 gold lead for Flash Abusers. Let's not get too hypey on Sam finding that one good fight.
There's still plenty of work to do for the Sam Houston squad, but that is their way back in, and that's what we were talking about, finding some of those small fights, getting some of those picks on the overextension. That all kicked off the back of Style finding that kill on the mid, and then just multiple members of the Flash Abusers trying to respond to that one. Style going to see Shin walking into this top lane. We'll just hit him with the death ray, just trying to land this poke. But you're not going to hurt that guy. Not without a significant investment of multiple abilities from multiple people. Yeah, Shin's going to pop that Hextech alternator with the Hextech belt as those components add up to that. I don't know why I'm listing them, but you know what? I fixed the list. Style going down again. He's going to flash. It's not going to matter. They're going to start to continue to siege, and now Flash Abusers realizing they need to clean this up. They're going to start to try and clean up some of the remaining structures here in Sam Houston's base.
Unfortunate for Style that he cannot do to the Fed Mordekaiser what he did to the even Zoe, but he does learn a hard lesson there, and hopefully the lesson sticks and we don't see him attempt that one again. Still, Flash Abusers looking to siege here. That's a lot of damage onto that Molly there. That
gonna be
just obliterated half his health bar.
He's going to be feeling that one in the morning as Sam Houston just trying to clear out these waves. Now, the siege not going very quickly for Flash Abusers. We are seeing some of the difficulty that they have because they have to walk so closely to the structures of Sam Houston. But, obviously, with Style just now respawning, that's going to give them a little bit of tempo. They've cracked the base, and smart call. They're just going to get out of here. They don't want to overextend. They don't want to give Sam Houston any way back into this game, as objectives will be spawning here in about a minute and a half across the map. And Style, Kramer, that's going to give them the kind of the pick of the litter of what they want to do, both with Dragon Soul being available and with Baron being available.
Yeah, and if you're Flash Abusers, Style just burned his flash. And he is the one you want to pick at the end of the day because he's the wave clear, right? We just literally saw it on our screens. Without him, they are not able to clear these waves off their turret to prevent this siege.
And he's going to have...
They are.
He's going to have the cleanse forced on him to be blown. Washed up landing that stasis there for a minute. Sam Houston, they're just getting poked in their own base. There is no safety for them. There's no cleanse for Style. He might just drop here, and in fact, he will. That was what they need. Is going to be the engage by Fozzie just to try and find some time, but there's not enough damage on this Sam Houston comp, and the kills are just going to start going the way of Flash Abusers. It's another Drowsy on top of one more member. Fozzie's just watching as the base crumbles, and this is going to be the end. Game 1 going to go the way of Flash Abusers. Washed up flashing all of those flashes that he picked up. It's going to be the teleport emote. That's you like to see it from Flash Abusers, just stunting their stuff. The final Nexus turret's going to go down, and they're going to pick up this first game. Flash Abusers, they're going to move to 1-0 the series. They're trying to grab Fozzie. They don't want to leave anyone left. They're going to lock him in the death realm. Oh, and this is just, this is just painful. They're taunting, they're dancing, they're having a good time, but they've earned it. They deserve it. They're going to let the minions do the work. They don't want to leave it for too long, though, and they won't. The Nexus is going to fall, and Flash Abusers move to 1-0 in the series.